Okay, so hello, I'm here doing, let me fix this, a video request. This is continuing 12th house synastry. Someone asked or requested Jupiter in the 12th house synastry. Like, what does that bring about? And like, I'm going to tell you that be aware of the fact that there's different components to this. And this is just one side of it. Like, when I do birth chart readings for people, you can, like, the way I get on here and just talk, and I tell them, I'm like, understand there's so many different variations of the way this plays out. And it's no different than here. And this is just like me speaking to them individually. Okay, so just understand that. And the fact that Jupiter is just so massive, right? So first of all, if you have a placement, like if let's say you have your Jupiter already in your own 12th house, there is a lot that you might hold to yourself. You might enjoy being mysterious. You come across like mysterious type situations. I mean, a lot of, situations could come up with people that's already married, already involved with people, and they want to be involved with you, and they want for you to not tell anybody. Now, let's go here. We're going to talk about why. Because it's not saying that you can't get single people to come after you or to want to be involved with you, like people that's already single. That's not what I'm saying. Because you can. However, the 12th house is known for like extra, like secrecy, extra marital affairs and associations and cheating and stuff like that, only because it's easy to hide. The fact that, so you know what this looks like, because a lot of times when someone single comes across you, they feel like you're already with somebody else, or you're dealing with somebody else, or you're dealing with other people automatically. And when you, especially because of your mysterious nature, and then when you come across people that are, how should I say it, are married or in relationships, they see it as, okay, well then I want this person and they're with somebody probably. If they're not, whatever, I want to be involved with them. So they're willing to keep it a secret. But I'm going to tell you, if you have Jupiter in your own 12th house, you have the ability to take people from other people. You have the ability. What happens is you're not seeing what other people are seeing about you, because it's the 12th house. You're not seeing this, other people are seeing it. And this is why you might even have people of the opposite sex, like in relationships or whatever, or like feel intimidated by you or feel cautious because they're like, man, this person could take my spouse, or this person might, or like, I don't know what this person does, like with their own, like behind the scenes, this person seems sneaky. People don't really always trust you and your motives, because to you, you're just living normally. You're just living normally and you just mind your business. To them, you have this whole, like, you might have all this stuff going on. You might be tricking. You might be, it's just a lot that they impose upon you. And the one thing that they impose upon you is their feelings and their emotions and their attractiveness to you. Okay? And just understand that. And because you respond and they already have came up with what they think you're going to respond with, or how they think you are, that's not, okay? When you show them you and you show them another side of you, or you show them something that they feel that's outside of what they observed or what they thought they knew about you, they can't take it. They run. They put themselves in a victim position, even if they've done wrong to you. they could refuse to see you as your own human being, as your own person. So just keep that in mind. I had to say that because what we want to do then is we want to then take this Jupiter in 12th house, and we want to make it synastry. We want to make it synastry. Now remember, if this is an affair and your Jupiter is going from your 11th house to your 12th house, because this can happen, like being in between houses or the sign that it's in, you could get a situation where it's like friends that hook up on the low, or like these friends with benefits that is like these emotions or these intense operations, or like you get entanglements and stuff like that ends up turning secret because of the situation around it or surrounding it, whatever. If you have Jupiter going in from your first to your 12th to your first, or the sign that it's in, you get a secret affair, or you get secret situations, however you may put it, that becomes exposed some type of way. It can't stay private. Yes, if it's just sitting in your 12th house, what you have is, and I'm going to give you this because this is the tea right here. I wish I had my actual glass of tea here so I could tell you, so I can give it to you. If you have Jupiter synastry and it's your Jupiter in somebody else's 12th house, and this could be in your own 12th house too. If it's in your own 12th house, okay, understand that you can control, and this is why people are afraid of you. If you can control how should I put it? You can control the other person's reality or emotions. Like you have a lot of control over their emotions and how they're seeing things. Okay? You can make the person believe, because you're Jupiter, like that they're in love with you, you're in love with them, like you're just like their ideal person. They can fantasize. They have all these fantasies over you, etc., etc. Now you take this Jupiter and you put it into somebody else's 12th house. The 12th house person, or this synastry, the 12th house synastry, the 12th house person could feel that the Jupiter person, they see the Jupiter person as this. And honestly, I get that this is the 12th house, and I get like the 12th house gets a very bad rap of just like completely not seeing what's going on. They don't know stuff. It's a secret, but really intuitively they do know stuff. They do see what's going on, but they avoid it. They don't really want to see it because it's like, well, if they didn't tell it to me plain and like exactly how it is, the 12th house person wants to not see certain stuff in order to keep having their involvement with the person, the sign person. That's pretty much it. And then there are certain things that the 12th house person does not see clearly that they get wrong also. They swear up and down it's true. But it's an intuitive thing. But, you know, the 12th house person can really see the Jupiter person. When the Jupiter person is touching their 12th house, they can actually see the Jupiter person for what they are, for like their potentials, for what they can be, for what they can do. But that does not mean that that's where the planet person, the Jupiter person is actually at. The Jupiter person yes, they have all these qualities because wherever we have Jupiter, the sign that we have Jupiter placed in is where we are brilliant at, is a lot of the traits that we have mastered, or we could even have been that sign before, or we could have, like we have these qualities already. You know, and we don't even have to walk the path of the sun to have them. We have knowledge of that. But that doesn't mean that we have to live in our Jupiter, like our Jupiterian opportunities and foresight. You get what I'm saying? Because there's other personal life issues and situations that impede on that. So the 12th house person is seeing the Jupiter person like, wow, like, for that sign that Jupiter is placed in. And it's like, wow, like all your great, amazing capabilities. Like, wow, you're wonderful. And they're painting this picture of Jupiter that may or may not be true, or that could be true, but the person is not that person. That Jupiter person is not living that out. They're like, well, okay, that's great and everything. Like, I'm not focused on that, or like, okay, they could care less. And this affects the 12th house person so much and on the emotional level, because you keep looking at the Jupiter person for the potential that they do have and for what they can be, even though they're choosing not to operate in it, and it just keeps you holding on. And the Jupiter person can pretty much tell you anything. And you can see these two be together despite the truth of the situation. It could be like, okay, well, I told you I was married. I told you that we couldn't be together for A, B, C, or D. And the 12th house person is like, well, okay, but I'll still be there. I don't see why that has anything to do with it. And the 12th house person has to turn that energy inward. Everything that you are glorifying Jupiter person for, all the credit that you're giving the Jupiter person, the amazing talents and skills of the Jupiter person, you have to allow, or what's happening is it's being shown to you. The Jupiter person is uncovering, is unraveling, is showing you these qualities of yourself. The qualities you want them to possess towards you is the qualities you're supposed to be possessing in your life that you don't see. You see it in them, but you don't see it in yourself. It's your self-undoing. And it's painful. And it hurts. Because you keep being like this spiritual aspect to it. That's not, the house person is not overthinking. It's not making this up. There is a spiritual component to it. But it does not mean that you're supposed to necessarily be with that person. That's the trick of the 12th house. The spiritual component is there. For sure. But it doesn't mean that's where you're supposed to detach and find and incorporate those traits. If the Mars person is here in Scorpio, let's take this, not Jupiter. Let's put this as a Mars person in Scorpio. Actually, if it's a Jupiter in Scorpio, I'm going to be honest with you. Any Scorpio placements will like the 12th house, could possibly be able to handle the 12th house. They want like that. They want that intensity. They want that, like that. That house person would be like, gosh, like, I want you and you're mine, and to go take charge. Like any of that Scorpio stuff. They want to get intense, but they want to take it to the bedroom though. They want to incorpse everything, like in, like all of that there, regardless of what's going on. But even if Jupiter and Scorpio in somebody's 12th house, it's a compatible house. It's now Jupiter itself doesn't want to be reined in. You know what I'm getting? Like Mars itself doesn't want to be reined in like that, but the sign dictates it. And then because the planet is not, it's like, okay, I don't want to have that type of action. It's a confliction. It's a back and forth. It's like, whoa, like, oh, I want this, but then again, I don't know. I needed this. You guys have to learn with 12th house energy how to let go and come back. How to let go and come back, and how to work through so that you can really come together if that's what you choose to do. It's very, very consuming, and that's why people try to steer clear from it. That's why a lot of times a planet person, see, the 12th house person is operating subconsciously though. So it's hard to be like, to separate yourself from it. The planet person is like, okay, no, I need to, do this over here. But with any planet here in the 12th house, and Jupiter is even maximized, heavy, heavy, heavy on the sexual interaction. That's really what you want to come together and do. That's why it doesn't really make any difference whether you're already with somebody or not. That's what y'all want. At the core level, it's like, man, we want to like interlock. But it's too consuming. It's like you can drown in, because it's like there's everyday life. This is where 12th house energy goes wrong. It's everyday life, and you cannot. You're like, man, you're trying to struggle to be like, to stay afloat of your emotions for both people. It's like, man, I'm emotional. I'm acting outside of myself. I'm doing all this and all that. I'm trying to stay above my emotions. I got to focus on other stuff. Okay. Other things that needs to go on besides this person, besides this situation. That's where it gets murky. Now, the house person is actually the brave one in any of these, especially like in the Jupiter synastry, but in any aspect. I kind of feel like more than the other planets, though, Jupiter can handle 12th house more than than the other planets, besides like Neptune or Pluto or something like that. I get it, but and it could be a very romantic, very ethereal. That's what I sum that up as, because you're having this experience. It's like you're meeting on another plane, or like a. Now, I'm very heavy into this, guys, and I noticed some things that's taking place in the shift and the switch, to where our 3D selves have caught up and begin to catch up with our spiritual selves and understand there's no separation. It was very hard to maintain these type of relationships, because it was our 3D selves was separate from the spiritual self. But as we were on the verge of the new millennium, or the verge of the new the change in the freaking age, we start to see these dynamics take place more, because this is what the soul was calling. It's like, come on in, come on, baby. But it was like a pull away, like even with the twin flame thing, it was like the pull away, because we still got to sustain this 3D. I still got to be over here and, working this 9 to 5 and showing up and living the lifestyles that my parents want us to live, and blase, right? Until we get to this point that, till we get to this point to where we understand there ain't no separation, really. And the spirit knows that. The higher self knows that. And now you got these quirky relationships. You got these the different relationships. And I was interrupted, so I kind of forgot what I was saying. But the point that I'm trying to make is that now we're finding ourselves being drawn more to these spiritual experiences, because we're identifying more with ourselves spiritually. We know that there's no separation. But you have to understand what the 12th house is, a direct connection to that. You have to have that understanding. So when you understand you're really trying to connect with what you're feeling spiritually outside of yourself, and you think it's the other person. Once you start connecting with that from within yourself, okay, 12th housers, you don't run the other person away as much. If they do, you let them go. And you really be like, okay, well then, if I'm still upset, I'm feeling these emotions every day, like let's check in with what that is saying to you. You're more equipped with handling it these days. The house person doesn't always want to run. They don't always want to hide stuff, but it was literally coming out that way because the 3D was split from the spiritual. So it's like, dang, I got this connection with this person, but I got this family over here, or I got this person that my family want me to marry, or I got this person that's in my same culture, or you are somebody that I shouldn't be with, whatever the case may be, but they still want to indulge and they want you there, but they don't know how to tell you the truth. Let's just get down to the nitty gritty. But when two people, or when people decide like, hey, you know what? This is what I really want though, or this is what I'm feeling right now. And they can be more connected with themselves to understand that it's another experience, and to understand that the experiences that they are feeling like they're forced to have 3D wise doesn't even align with them. It's because these relationships are like taking us to that other side. It's like taking us to that other side of ourselves that we have to consciously become aware of. Okay. And a lot of times people can't do that independently. Other people help them do it. And let me tell you something. When I tell you that what also keeps them addicted or coming to this type of synastry, Jupiter is just the degree of it is just really maximizing. It's like overindulgence to some point. it's like very strong attraction to some point, and heavy emotions and sex there. You know what I mean? That's the intercourse part, the intimate part is what brings them together in order to trigger these events, to initiate it, if that makes sense. Without that, why would you be, think about any platonic friend or anybody in your life that comes across you and you're just like, okay, girl, bye. Okay, she was tripping. I'm gonna let it go. But it's for something different when somebody's entering our body, or we have some type of the sexual thing, the intimate thing triggers us, because it's like the person's literally inside you pushing it out. Okay? So this has been Jupiter in the 12th house synastry. And I know I didn't necessarily focus just on Jupiter, but Jupiter is there. Like, I'm trying to get y'all to understand the 12th house with the other planets too, and just understanding that the planet is just, it changes up the dynamic slightly, but it's still the main point there. Jupiter intensifies. It intensifies the feelings, it intensifies the sex, and it intensifies the level and velocity, like the weight, how fast things are happening, how fast that you're waking up, how fast you do the separation, how fast you do the spiritual recognition, and actually wanting to seek that out, because Jupiter itself is an educational planet. It could be a spiritual planet, and it's like a bridging us to the other side, bridging us into the components of ourselves that signify, hey, like, this is, like, this reality ain't the reality that I'm thinking that it is. So what are you trying to get me to be? What are you trying to get me to embody? And usually whatever that sign that the Jupiter is sitting in, that's the qualities that you embody. Scorpio might be there, big business. Scorpio might be there, intimate, deep emotional connection or sex there, to where you be like, you know what I'm saying? And you deny yourself of all that. But anyways, Jupiter in 12th house synastry, I'm Butterflies of Light. Thank you for joining me, because I'll be back.